What's up, guys? My name is Blake, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Osmo Pocket. So let's go. Alright guys, so as you can see, this is like a completely different day. It was like, I think like last week when I started shooting the beginning part of this video, and a lot has happened in the last week as far as like in the world, the coronavirus stuff. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And we've been trying to do our part in making sure that we're staying inside and only going out when we need to for food and stuff like that, washing our hands all the time. And so yeah, it's been pretty crazy last couple of weeks. This week in particular, I'm sure it's only going to get crazier, but just try to do your part, stay safe, and wash your hands, all the good stuff. All right. So one of the big things, obviously, is this size of this Osmo Pocket. And just like the name refers to it, obviously it'll fit in your pocket. It'll fit in everywhere, basically. I love the portability factor of this thing. It comes with like this little trusty little case, and it just go straight into the case, straps in. You can charge it inside the case. I like that feature. And I like that I can just have this tiny little form factor. If I want to carry it with me, I can with the wristlet. It's not that big of a deal. If I'm at the zoo with the kids or something like that, I'm just have it, whip it out, and stash it in my wife's purse. Usually I keep it in like the center console of the car. But I love how small the size of it is. You can just see how small it is actually in my hand. It's pretty dinky. This is a like SD card dongle for the iPad. And you can see this thing is actually taller than the Osmo. So it's small. And I think that, I mean, you either love it or you hate it. I think for the practicality of it, I love that. I love that you can have something that's this high quality, this stable, in your pocket all the time. And you can whip it out, turn it on, record, shove it back in your pocket. Everything's cool. I really love that feature of it. All right, resolution. So we did a couple of field tests the other day, showing like the 4K at 24, and I think like the 1080 at 24 and 60 frames and all that stuff. All right, guys. So this is 4K and 60 frames per second. It looks like the face track is on. So yeah, this was 4K 24 frames per second. 4K 24 frames a second. All right, and this is what the 1080 looks like in 24 frames per second. Super sunny day outside. It's pretty windy. Oh, how's the sound? Is it kind of blaring out the mic, or can you hear me pretty good? Basically, in camera you have certain options, and then in the app you have certain options. Because in the app you can enable the pro mode, and in the pro mode you have pro features like 24 frames per second, and a bunch of other stuff too. So yeah, so like right out of the camera I can do 4K. I can change the aspect ratio of the frame if I wanted to from 16:9. But 4K, 25 frames a second, 30, 50, and 60. So 25, 30, 50, and 60 frames. Got that in 4K, and you got that in 1080, 25, 30, 50, 60. And then when we get into slow-mo, slow-mo is only going to be in HD, and it crops in, so it zooms in by like 4 times. It even says right on the screen 4x, so it zooms in 4 times for your slow-mo. And honestly, unless you're like shooting something that you know is like outside, like action style camera, or a really well lit, the slow-mo is not that amazing. It's cool that you can get, I mean, it's cool that it's still full HD, but since it crops in so much, it's so noisy. The footage is so noisy, it's not that great, especially in low light. It is horrible in low light, so I wouldn't recommend that. But like I said, when you connect to the app, you got pro features on there, so you can put it in manual mode, and you can control the ISO, you can control the shutter, control your white balance, do custom white balance, put it in 24 frames a second, all that stuff in pro mode, and then you can lock that stuff in on the camera, take it off from the app, and it's still locked in here on the actual hardware. So which is really cool. Low light. So I have been shooting my main videos, except for this video right here. I've been shooting my main videos with this Osmo. I've been doing my B-roll with it. I've been doing my main camera with it. And I think, I don't know, I mean, I think I would consider this like a low light situation. I think it does, for the most part, it does pretty good, like when you got it in 4K in normal video mode. Like I said, slow-mo was kind of horrible. But I think low light, altogether, it performs pretty decently well. Obviously, you're not going to be shooting like stuff in the evening and all that crap and at night, but generally in low light, especially for such a small sensor, I think it performs pretty well. And like I said, I get pretty decent looking footage in this setup with this little guy, and I think the low light looks pretty good. The 4K, the 4K is what it is. It's not like a huge noticeable difference to me. The only thing I can notice is that I can kind of punch in a little bit more, but as far as like the actual quality of the image, it's not like this huge leap from 1080 to 4K with this camera. You're not going to notice that big of a difference, except for the file size. File size is much bigger. And don't get me wrong, it does look nice. I always shoot 4K with it just because it is a little bit nicer, a little bit sharper, and all that stuff. But it's not like the most impressive thing in the world. But it is an awesome thing that you can have 4K video capabilities on this thing, like I said, with it in your pocket, which is pretty amazing. Battery life. No external batteries. It's got a built-in battery, USB-C charging. It charges really fast, and I haven't had an issue with it taking forever charging. It honestly, when you're actually using it and using it like often, the battery drains pretty quick. I don't know what they officially say the battery life looks like. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it says for battery life. It doesn't really say a whole lot. But yeah, like I said, obviously being so tiny, you're not going to get a huge battery in this thing regardless. So I think given the form factor and the power behind this thing, you get a pretty decent battery. And honestly, I like that there's no external batteries for this. I like that you can just use like a portable charger, or you can charge it in your car. I really like that feature. It kind of adds to the whole smallness factor of this. Not a whole lot of stuff to bring with it. I like that. I think that's a big plus. Stabilization. Gimbal. Let's turn it on real quick. Watch this thing work. Oh yeah, so cool. So obviously it's stabilized with hardware in camera with this gimbal, and it's actually cool. The gimbal has a lot of different settings and features that you can play with and toy around with, like that the Osmo Plus doesn't have. And so, a couple of things regarding the gimbal. You can change the speed. So as far as like when I have this on and I change it into like follow me mode. Let's go. All right, come on now. So right here, follow mode. So see how quick this is. I got this. When I turn the actual camera, it snaps quick, and I can actually make it slower. So now it's slow follow. See, when I move my hand, it is much slower. So you get more of a fluid kind of transition over. If that's the look that you want, you have that option. Very, very cool. And then it has tilt lock. So no matter how I move it, the actual tilt stays the same. And then this FPV mode, which is sick. So if I move this side to side, it actually will move with the camera. FPV mode. So very cool feature. I don't think it's on any other Osmo product. And I really enjoy this feature, honestly, for when I'm like if you're actually vlogging. It makes it to where it doesn't look quite as weird. It kind of gives you more of that DSLR feel to it when you pick it up and you move it around. It doesn't look quite as mechanical in camera. So I don't know. I like the FPV feature a lot. I use it a lot for a lot of different things and uses. When I'm trying to get a manual, like trying to tilt it manually, so that I know that the gimbal's not going to be jittering on me when I'm getting B-roll or this or that. So a lot of cool different options for it. Active track. So this little Osmo Pocket will actually has active track built into it. You can use it in the app, and you can also use it on the screen. On this little 1-inch screen of the Osmo Pocket itself. So all you got to do is, like, when you're on here, you double tap on something and it will already lock onto it. If you're in the app, same thing. You just draw your square on it. If you're familiar with the DJI apps, that's kind of how they work. Draw your little, hold it down and draw your square around something, and it'll track it. So they're really sick that this thing has that feature that you can actually do live tracking stuff. So if you set it in a stationary spot, you want to track yourself, you can track it, use the app, track yourself, and walk around. It'll still stick with you pretty well. It's not perfect, but considering, like I said, another amazing feature right in your pocket, I mean, you can't beat that. Now the sound. This thing, I think, has got two different microphones. I think one on the bottom and one on the back. One on the bottom and one on the back. And so it is what it is. They're small microphones. It's pretty decent sound for what you get in something this small. Not amazing. It's not going to be your Rode mic, but it's going to be okay for something that you whip out and you record something on the fly. The only flaw I see with it is this mic right here. I don't know if you can see it, but they got a mic right here, right next to the record button. And so when you're holding it and you're kind of vlogging and you're talking to the camera, you tend to move your thumb right by these buttons, which is right over that mic, and you get a lot of that scratchy sound. And if you don't realize what you're doing, you kind of ruin your audio that way. So I mean, mic placement I think could be better, but like I said, given that it's this small, it's probably not a whole lot of places to put it. So I understand why they did it. But yeah, the sound is okay. If you need it, it will work. Accessories. So DJI has got a bunch of different accessories that they've got for this thing. So let's check some of them out here. So accessories. They got like a charger case, which is pretty cool. This wireless Wi-Fi module, which I actually have, and it works really good. It also doubles as like a stand, so it'll stand up with a lot more stability. You won't have to worry about it knocking over. And then they got like this, looks like a waterproof case, and some other connectors. They got ND filters for it. So yeah, a lot of different accessories for the Osmo if you want to use it for a bunch of different situations. It's got like a waterproof case, so if you want to use it underwater, bunch of other stuff. I'm not a huge fan of all the accessories that it comes with. I'll use a couple of them if I need them here and there, like the wireless Wi-Fi module, maybe like the charging case. But something that's this small, that's intended to be small, I'm not a huge fan of having a bunch of accessories for this thing. I kind of got in too deep with the Osmo Plus that I'm recording on right now. It became this huge rig of a setup just to be able to tripod the thing, and I did not like that. So yeah, a lot of accessories. I'm sure they're pretty useful. A couple of them are pretty useful for me. I might end up getting the ND filters and making a video out of those. But other than that, I just use it as is. Now, other features that the Osmo Pocket also has, other than like the active track that we talked about before, it will take panorama photos like the other DJI Osmo stuff will, and the drones and stuff. It'll take like your long exposure shots, all the normal DJI features that they put in every other Osmo and most of their drones and stuff like that is also available on here. So stuff that you'd expect to see that they've already had out for a while is on here as well. So that's obviously cool. So final thoughts on this little guy. I think number one, I like the picture out of this better than I like the picture out of the Osmo Plus. With the Pro mode on here, it's much more useful than you would think. I mean, I usually set this thing in 4K, 24 frames per second, and get my, in studio anyway, I get my my white balance up to about 5600K, nice and warm, and then I just set it and let it sit there. I like the way it looks. Like I said, the low light performance, at least in here, has been great for me. I love the way it looks in studio. I love the way it looks when I'm shooting B-roll. I love the portability factor of it, and all the features that it comes with it, just in case I need them. I don't use them all the time, but like the active tracking and all that stuff is really cool to have something so small in your pocket. So, final thoughts. I definitely like this camera. I've been using it for a while, since it came out. It's definitely had some time to grow on me, but I think the biggest reason why I like it is the power it gives you in such a small package. It's such an amazing tool. This little thing will has so much power behind it, as far as the image that it'll give you, the specs behind it, and the thing fits in your pocket. Amazing, absolutely amazing. So yeah, final thoughts. I like it. I definitely recommend it. I'll put a link to the Osmo Pocket down in the description below. If you have any other questions, comments, final thoughts of your own, I would love to hear about them. Please put them in the comment box below. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Do whatever you want, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.